Thank you so much for being here today for the beginning of this opening ceremony for the 11th KÖKULU exhibit. So we're going to do an opening to the 4 directions that Roberto Burrero is going to lead us through.
Taigwe ditono kena dati aono diri Mukaro agoibana boriken Taino daka kawai daka kawai daka kawai daka. So I wanted to give you a quick greetings in my indigenous language, Taino language. We're just going to open this beautiful occasion up, just recognizing all the energies and the beings all around us, not only the human beings, but the spiritual beings. So we're going to do this call to the directions, and then afterwards we're going to continue with the presentations. So thank you for your patience. Hahom.
Oh, kama watu kan semi. Oh, kama watu kan semi. Ariko, ariko semi achiano. Ariko, ariko semi achiano. O matum semi achiano. O matum semi achiano. Oh, kama watu kan semi. Oh, kama watu kan semi. Ariko, ariko semi koromo. Ariko, ariko semi koromo. O matum semi koromo. O matum semi koromo. Oh, kama watu kan semi. Oh, kama watu kan semi. Ariko, ariko semi rakuno. Ariko, ariko semi rakuno. Oh, matum semi rakuno. Oh, matum semi rakuno. Oh, kama watu kan semi. Oh, kama watu kan semi. Ariko, ariko semi sobaiko. Ariko, ariko semi sobaiko. O matum semi sobaiko. O matum semi sobaiko. So turn back, look up to the sky. Oh, kama watu kan semi. Oh, kama watu kan semi. Ariko, ariko baba yokaho. Ariko, ariko baba yokaho. Bomatum baba yokaho. Bomatum baba yokaho. One more. Oh, kama watu kan semi. Oh, kama watu kan semi. Ariko, ariko bibi atabeira. Ariko, ariko bibi atabeira. O matum bibi atabeira. O matum bibi atabeira.
Hahom. Hanhakatu. Thank you, everyone, for your patience. And I'll turn it back to you.
So aloha mai kako, o Lehuanani, DeFranco, ko inoa. I just want to thank everyone for being here today. As I said before, this is the 11th KÖKULU exhibit that Auntie Pooh Case and Mauna Kea Education and Awareness has put on. She's put it on all through the Pai'aina of Hawaii Island, also in the state of California at different UC campuses. This is the first one in New York City, but hopefully not the last. So this exhibit here is to bring awareness for the protection of Mauna Kea, which is our sacred mountain on Hawaii Island, which is currently under threat from the 30-meter telescope, from the desecration of the 30-meter telescope. So I'm going to talk a little about the exhibit later. Right now I want to introduce three of our speakers. These are three of our leaders in all of the different communities that we have, our Indigenous communities around New York City. They're all a part of the organizing committee of Indigenous Peoples Day that started in 2018, that happens on Randall's Island. They are not only leaders in their community, but they have been fierce advocates for the protection of Mauna Kea. And we are really holding this ceremony and this exhibit because we are wanting to honor the local kia'i, those who reside in New York City who have been holding space and protection for Mauna Kea. I'm going to hand it off first I'm going to introduce all three of them and then I'll hand it off to them. So Chenae Bullock is an enrolled Shinnecock Nation tribal citizen and descendant of the Montauk people in Long Island, New York. She's a water protector, an Indigenous perspective historian, and humanitarian. Following her ancestors' footsteps as whalers and business leaders, the foundation of her work has been based on the resurgence of the traditional canoe culture of the Northeast coastal Algonquin communities. I'll also just add in that she just got off a plane and just got off a canoe, so mahalo for being here. She has organized historically sacred paddles in the ancient waterways of the northeastern seaboard. As a successful business pioneer, she is the founder and CEO of Moskehtu Consulting, which is a culture and heritage preservation firm. She's also a published author of the book titled 50 Plant Medicines, Indigenous Oral History and Perspective. And she uses her Indigenous oral history to help people on their journey to learn more about the plant medicines that have been used for thousands of years. Roberto Burrero, who opened for us, is a human rights activist, advocate, cultural advisor, writer, artist, and musician. He has a distinguished and diverse background in policy and program development and human rights advocacy, including a specialization on the rights of Indigenous people. He retains over 25 years of experience actively engaging in the United Nations systems in thematic areas such as sustainability, development, climate change, and the Information Society, and the Organization of American States, among others. Burrero is a member of the Taino tribal nation, an Indigenous people whose traditional homelands extend through the Greater and Lesser Antilles to the southern tip of Florida in the U.S. Cliff Matias is Kichwa and Taino. He is the founder and director of Redhawk Native American Council and also the founder and international director of Reddrum Motorcycle Club. Mahalo to all of Reddrum who came today. Cliff has been serving on the front lines and addressing many issues that Indigenous people face. He has organized many Indigenous milestone events, from the 500-year anniversary of Columbus at the United Nations in 1992 to organizing the first Indigenous Peoples Day on Randall Island in 2018. He has been an instrumental and powerful voice for such causes as the Standing Rock Pipeline protest, Mauna Kea Telescope, missing and murdered Indigenous women epidemic, and serves as an advocate for name changes of sports teams using Native Americans as mascots and other forms of cultural appropriation. So mahalo for all three of you to come today. You really have been such leaders in our community, and I've learned so much from you over the years. I know that, many of us have just come from really big trips, and so whether it's at the UN or canoeing or in Spain, and you guys always show up and just drop in at the right moments, and I think that just shows how important these movements are. So I'm gonna hand it first to Chenae.
Tabutne. Wow, I just want to say thank you for doing this. This is absolutely beautiful and breathtaking, and I wanted to just take a little moment to recognize those that are not able to make it here with us for whatever reason, but their spirit is here. So I wanted to think about that because we wouldn't be able to do any of this work if it wasn't for those fallen warriors that have fought for our sacred sites, clean water, clean air, and have taught us all the things that we know now to be able to continue. So I just want to take a moment. My community paddled we paddled down the upper Hudson and into the lower Hudson Bay to greet the Hukalea. Believe that was 2014 or 15. But it was our youth that had connected with the youth group with the Hukalea Voyaging Society. And it was a very interesting day, and a beautiful day. And there were tremendous amount of people that were in the city around World Oceans Day. And those that may not be aware, but the Shinnecock Nation, we sit on the Mid-Atlantic Regional Planning Body that focuses on ocean policy because we still reside on the ocean. So there's a big responsibility. So in that moment is when I met so many of the people that you see here at that ceremony that we had. And then it was my brother Cliff that reached out and asked us to come to Indigenous Peoples Day, and I seen them again. And then I think it was 2019 when there was a huge call out for us to support what's going on out there. And anytime we're given a call to stand with others, we do, because even though we're a very small community on the island of Long Island, when we put a call out, people show up. And we all have a responsibility to the land and to the water. And this mountain is still something that we're called to protect as people. It's the tallest mountain that touches the ocean floor, that comes out of the ocean floor. That's a big responsibility for all of humanity, no matter what it is that you do. In your prayers, in your thoughts, in your votes, in your finances, your divestments, your choices, what you teach people, the work that you do, whether it's creating beautiful installations like this or sitting down and talking about treaties and how to protect that. It's something that we all have to do because we all have that responsibility. And the people that have asked us to do that, we want to thank them for that. At Indigenous Peoples Day, we gather and we've selected from Creator different people to talk about the things that's important to them, that they're asking for protection for. My spirit is a little calmer than normal because I do have in mind right now 4 paddlers that are going to be paddling for 4 months that just left Penobscot territory. So I'm just a little calm as I have them in our mind when I think about these waters. They just left about 5 hours ago. So to bring that story here for a circle is extremely important. As people of the ocean and people of the land, all of us, no matter if we hold that wisdom, it's important that we share it with one another. This installation isn't just something to just necessarily take pictures of, right? This is something that we should be spreading the word about, and not just something that's beautiful, but the actions that need to be taken, because the work isn't completed. I want to give also an acknowledgement to the living people that are also fighting for their sacred sites here in New York. The chief wasn't able to make it here today, but Chief Perry has given us permission. I was given permission to acknowledge that they're still here, the Ramapo Lenape people, the Nanticoke Lenape people, the Muncie-speaking Lenape people that are interrelated to the Shinnecock people, the Matias people, the Unkachug, the Canarsie, all of the Montauk people, going all the way up into the Wabanaki Confederation where I just left from. It's important that if you reside in these lands, you too have a responsibility to our sacred sites. It's very important that you think about that. Because as we're here in this big city, we're continuously erased as people that still reside here. And our numbers dwindle. But when a call out is made, we show up. So as we come together, collectively as humanitarians, and we heal ourselves, we can think about those sacred sites that we individually have, whether you're here or home. You know, when we come together at Indigenous Peoples Day, it's a beautiful time because we're able to learn about all of those different sacred sites that exist throughout the world. Whether it's in our water ceremony, we've had people from Africa, the Philippines, the Amazons, the high seas, and they talk about what's happening with their waters. They talk about what's happening with their sacred sites. And here we are gathering around something so beautiful that is able to create awareness about a very important sacred site to this world. So I just want to thank the organizers. I want to thank Creator. I want to thank my ancestors. I want to thank my brothers here for bringing us all together, because we're all interconnected to each other. Something all brought us here, whether it was one person, whether it was a text message, whether it was something, whether it was a call out from 2016, 2015, no matter what it is. But we have to continue to make the circle bigger and bigger so that we can continue to do things just like this and see treaties and see these sites protected in the future. Because when they are destroyed, then there's an imbalance that's happening, not only in our waters, underneath the ocean floor, but also in the sky and in ourselves. So that's very important that we continue to protect these sacred sites, because we're losing more and more of them in this world. And when we lose that, then we lose ourselves. And we're no longer connected to one another. We're no longer connected to the earth. So as we're here today, meet new people. Learn about where they're from. Learn about what's happening in their community. Get connected to them. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Chenae, my sister Chenae. This, I look up at all these pictures here, and, sitting here, I was trying to reflect, like, how did that all come about? So, actually, I got to correct you, because I am not one of the organizers of the 500th year anniversary. I was there, Roberto and I. I always say that we're like one of the few people that are in the movement here in the city that were there, because there's not many left in 30 years ago that are still in the grind. But no, I wasn't one of the organizers. I was just walking around. It was my inspiration to do the work that eventually I'm doing today. But so it's been 30 years. In 2015, I was watching Facebook, and I was seeing this like amazing woman, this little Hawaiian woman, like doing like great stuff, and I was like, man, I got to meet this woman. And so I tried to make it up. She had gone to, Auntie Pua had gone to the Wampanoag people, because she had some Wampanoag ancestry that were whalers, and she had went there to meet them. And I missed her there. And I was like, and I had already moved off the island. I was living on Oahu for a while. And so I was like, I have to meet this woman. So I went back to the Big Island, where they had already, Mauna Kea, the protest had already began, the first protest in 2015. And I went up to, I borrowed a car, and I drove up the Mauna in this little beat up car, man. It was like coughing, because it was dying, and it got to the top of the Mauna, and it just died. It just went, and I just rolled into a parking spot. And I got up there, and I was, I spent the whole day, and Auntie Pua wasn't there. They said, no, she's not there, and her Havana's not there. And I was like, holy smokes. So I went, I said, okay. And they said, but she'll be at sign waving tomorrow. And so I was supposed to leave, and I delayed my flight so I can go down and see her and finally meet her, and this was really early in 2015. And it was the very beginning of we had planned the first Indigenous Peoples Day, and I had contacted Roberto and bless his soul and rest his soul, Kevin Charant, who's no longer with us. And I said, hey, man, I want to do this event, this Indigenous Peoples Day event on Randall's Island. And we put together this team, and through the work of Roberto and Kevin, we this amazing sunrise ceremony happened, and I said to the Auntie Pooh, I said, you have to be part of this. You got to come to New York, and that was it. And she came for the very first year and just helped us organize this thing, and she became my auntie ever since. And I remember she came and stayed with me, and she said, I'm doing this ceremony in Shinnecock. So I drove her to the bus, the jitney bus in Shinnecock, you know, and she went out in the jitney bus. And when she came back, she had told me about this story about Auntie LaDonna, who also is no longer with us, and that she had met this, you know, she had connected again with Auntie LaDonna because they had connected before, but she had connected again with her, and she was talking about what was happening in Standing Rock. And she had asked Auntie Pua, she said, if I put a call out, do you think, you know, I can get people like you out on Mauna Kea, you know, and maybe I can get 50 people to come to Standing Rock? And Auntie Pua said, you're going to get a lot more than 50 people. And it's amazing how on the Shinnecock Reservation in well, I think it was it wasn't 2015 then, it was like approaching 2016, that what became Standing Rock, the idea of it was created on the Shinnecock Reservation. Not the everything that was happening, but the idea of setting up a camp, you know, and Auntie LaDonna and Auntie Pua had that conversation. And I remember I picked her up and she told me the whole story, you know. And those are all the stories and the things that really created, you know, this movement. This beautiful thing that we're seeing here today, because the Mauna Kea has reached around the world. You know, it's come. I remember the sign waving that Kaina and everyone here put together. You know, and I see you know, I'd go over whenever I could, and they'd be in what was that park over there? Washington Square. Well, no, this is Washington Square, but no, it started in that other Union Square, and it was at Union Square. I was like, yo, we got to get out of this park. It was crazy over there, and then we were like, you need to come here. So it started happening right here. But yeah, it's just been you know, a beautiful experience, having Auntie Pooh, you know, as my auntie, and just all the. I mean, these pictures just pretty much say everything that's happened, you know, being part of that Mauna Kea movement. And every time a new movement happens, or even some of the old ones, and, you know, whether it's Oak Flats or Bears Ears or the Shinnecock Sweetwater camp that they had there, and all the different movements that every time I go, you know what? I'm getting a little old, man. I'm going to sit back. I get sucked in again. And Chenae calls me, come out to Shinnecock, Cliff. We're doing it. I'm like, oh, my God. Oh, yeah, all right, we'll go, you know. And then, you know, so I don't know. I think I kind of feel like, you know, maybe I just want to chill and let the young people do it all. But I don't know. The phone will ring again. So, but I'm just, you know, really thankful for everyone who made the Indigenous Peoples Day happen. I want to thank my sister here, Bethany, who's been such a big part of it as well, helping and coming, and Roberto for, you know, listening to me that day when we sat down and said, hey, let's happen. And then as Chenae came on board and just brought this like crazy energy, her and Sutton from the urban Indigenous collective, they got together, and you know, these young energy like coming in, kicking, and I'm like, yeah, man, this is great. So, and then, of course, my sister here, who's just brought in this like beautiful, beautiful energy, and so it's just everything is just coming together, and I really can't. My words really can't really say more than what this installation says, because everything here and the combination of the Mexica people, and the people from the islands, and the Taino people, and the people from the north and the south, and everyone just coming together and making this Indigenous Peoples Day happen. And we're really excited about this year. We already have the flyers out, and we'd love for you to tell your friends and come and support the event. It's always free, and as long as we are fighting this Columbus Day sort of thing that they're imposing on us. You know, we're going to continuously be out on Randall's Island celebrating the survival of us as Indigenous people. So I want to thank you for allowing me to share with you.
Home to my brother Cliff, thank you. Thank you once again to all the organizers. A beautiful, beautiful job. I look at the photos and like Cliff was just thinking about everything, thinking on all that led up to this moment here and everything that we've been doing as a community, a diverse community here in New York City of Indigenous peoples and allies as well. And, you know, you could see, and I think you can hear from what our sister Chenae said and what Cliff has said, there's so many interconnections now. There's so many people that we could thank. I want to acknowledge my brother Rick and also the American Indian Community House for being a part of that as well. And, we all come together. We all have things to do, but we always make time for each other as well. And I think that's the big message, that we as human beings, as distracted as we get, as busy as we think we are, we can make time for each other and make time for things that matter. And what really matters now is that we're really in a crisis now on the earth. We can see that some people want to deny it, but we can see even how the weather has shifted here in New York and in other places, that we know that there's something big going on, and that's going to continue. And so when we talk about sacred places like Mauna Kea and other places that Indigenous people speak about, they're important. Why? Because these are places that Indigenous peoples, leaders, spiritual people have been going to for generations, to speak to make offerings to say thank you. Because as Indigenous peoples, we know that the foundation of our cultures, and this I see it all over the world, it doesn't matter, but as Indigenous peoples, I see it over and over, the foundation of the culture is reciprocity, right? It's not that we're just taking and taking, but we also have to give back. And if that giving back can be, not harvesting all of one animal at a certain time of year, because then it's going to affect the coming of the animals the next type of year. It's working with the land in a way that it's not just going to deplete its resources over a few generations, but continue to give. So you have to work with it. You have to understand it. You have to observe it in a good way. You have to build a relationship with it. So looking out amongst all of you, the things and people who are just passing by and wondering what's going on, we're really talking about that relationship building, really being in right relationship with each other as human beings, but also with the earth. And that's really the message of the sacred sites, because that's where we can stand before them, before the ancestors, before the spirits, before the energies of this, what we say our Mother Earth in many languages. In the Taino language, we say Atabeira. But there's so many ways, so many expressions of that energy, of this entity that we live with and upon, and that she always continues to give and give, even though all her children are really acting very badly at this moment. They're not remembering songs, stories. They're not remembering their original commitments. And I'll give you one quick example, because I know we're short on time and there's other people who want to speak. But in the old days, of my ancestors, they used to sing to a certain entity that would come. Every year they would do this, and that's when the hurricane season would come. And they would sing to that hurricane in a way, not that they were scared or they thought that it was evil, but they knew that something was happening, and they had to appease that energy, had to talk to it, just like the sacred sites. And what the elders said is, as our people were colonized, there was conversion from those old ways. There was conversion, moving them away from giving those offerings, talking to the sacred mountains and the energy like they used to, and they put them on a path to another way of relating to the world, another religion. And the elders said is that as fewer and fewer people would sing those songs, the things are going to change, and that energy is going to get more and more angry, because we're not keeping up with our side of the bargain. And I think that's happening all over the world. So as we're rushing with development, and as you see continuously, as people are trying to develop and access resources, and resources in a way that displace many people right? Which is why there's so many people coming up here, immigrants. They're saying, oh, these immigrants are coming, but why are they coming here? Because something is happening in those areas. It's all connected. You have to follow, connect the dots, follow the money, all of that. And it's all connected to what we're saying here. But we need to start thinking about that. We need to start thinking about what is sacred to each other, what is sacred to each other, and what we're gonna leave, not only for us, but the future generations, because we just don't want to survive here on Earth, we want to thrive, right? We want our children's children to thrive. We want there to be a planet for them to have and to hold and to love as much as we do, as Indigenous peoples, and we hope other peoples do as well. So I want to thank each and every one of you. I hope we've given you some things to think about. There's ways that you can connect, be a part of it, come to Indigenous Peoples Day, support what's going on here. Look for actions. What can you do? It's not up to all of us individually, but as individuals coming together collectively, we could really make a big difference. So with that, I want to just say hahom, iti aono, thank you relatives for your patience, and thank you for giving me a few moments to speak.
You know, these are why these people are here to speak, because they always know exactly what to say, because they've always been standing up for these movements. I just want to say something about Mauna Kea for those who aren't too familiar with it. So we're fighting the desecration of the 30-meter telescope, right? This isn't a debate over science versus culture, so like just knock that right out of your head if you don't know. This is a debate of, this is the tallest mountain in the world from below sea level. So all of our mountains are sacred, but this mountain in particular, it holds the water aquifer that feeds the entire island. So the more, you can see, she's in the back there, Poliahu, she's snowing in the back there. You keep cutting the top of the Mauna to put these telescopes on, you're changing weather. When those clouds are being pushed against the mountain, that's what's raining down and catching into that water aquifer. You know, you keep on cutting down the mountain. This is an island in the middle of the Pacific that is already having so many water issues. I can't even like get into how intense the water crisis is in Hawaii right now. So please educate yourself and please, you know, read everything that we've put here. Everything here is so important to talk about why we're here to protect these sacred places. We're trying to live, you know, like we can't get backup water when you're in the middle of the ocean. This is why this is so incredibly important. When we were creating this exhibit, you know, Auntie Pua kept being like, is this our 10th or 11th exhibit? Because she's putting on 3 exhibits at the same time. That's how busy she is every single day, wanting to make sure that people know how to protect this sacred mountain. Earlier, you know, we were talking about Auntie Ladonna. This is a dream that she had, but she woke up and called Auntie Pua to talk about, you know, I had this dream about how to continue to protect these sacred places. Tell the women to sing all parts of the world, sing because there's compassion in a woman's voice. And in the women singing, it helps the Mother Earth heal herself. She will heal us. Tell them to dance. Dance so hard they vibrate the earth to help the Mother Earth heal. And then light the fire to support the men and give them the strength to stand. And plant so that we can have air to breathe. At the end of this slideshow, there's a photo of Auntie Ladonna and Auntie Pua case. And words over it say that we're still here. Auntie Ladonna has transitioned. But everything that she's taught us is still here. And everything that we've learned from her, it's our job, it's our kuleana to perpetuate that to the next generation. So I really want, you know, to encourage everybody to continue learning about these movements and continue to stand up. Another person that I really want to thank is Kaina. She founded Na ʻŌiwi and organized all of our Mauna Kea rallies that we had in Union Square, and then moved over to Mauna Kea. We held those rallies for about a year, including during COVID, until the uprisings of 2020 started, when we transitioned to really putting our efforts in to support Black Lives Matter. So she moved back home, but we still think of her and love her so much and keep her in our hearts. And the last thing, I just have a quick note from Auntie Pua, who again wasn't able to be here. So she says,
right here.
Oh, hi Auntie! Aloha! This is from Auntie Pua. Aloha no to all of our dearest relations, friends, and family. On behalf of our organization, Mauna Kea Education and Awareness, and most importantly from our family, Antipua, Havana, and Kapolei, her 2 daughters. This circle has been an integral part of our life, especially during the yearly journey we've made to New York over the years to present our waters, our culture, and our calls to action for Mauna Kea and all sacred places. It is our humble honor to present ourselves on the indigenous lands of our relatives within the company of all of our partners here today. I also want to acknowledge all of our partners for Indigenous Peoples Day that are listed here. Yes. To join in acknowledging, recognizing, and honoring the pillars, excuse me, the protectors, the guardians, who needs water? And the supporters who stand not just for their own movements, but hand in hand, arm in arm, shoulder to shoulder, chest to chest, to those who show up, stand up, and speak up for the mountains, the land bases, the waters, the oceans, and the lifeways of our people. This indeed is what connects us all together. Mahalo to all who coordinated KөөKULU, a traveling exhibition and a tribute to the pillars of Mauna Awa Kea. With gratitude to all of you who are here now to ceremoniously reveal this exhibit display for all to learn from. May everyone who sets their eyes upon each photo feel our intention and purpose, and may all Native peoples feel proud and honored, and may all people feel inspired to do what they can as they stand here. Mahalo nui, me ke aloha nui I ka piko a Wakea, I ka alo o Mauna Kea. So mahalo, Auntie.
I always mispronounce it as Lehuanani. We are so grateful, and there's Auntie Pooh right there. We are so grateful for her being on our team and making this event. She's amazing. Like anything we ask her, it's like done before we finish the sentence. Like whatever. And we're blessed to have her part of this team. We miss Kaina. Every year, we gave you the flyer. Every year, one of our logos doesn't make it. we just forget a logo. Last year it was Roberto's organization didn't get on.
Really
and we just want to say we're sorry, but this year it's yours. But no, it's just a flyer. We're gonna make another one, but it's on the online flyer. But every year somebody's logo doesn't make it. But we just appreciate you all the hard work that you put into this.
My peeps, we're gonna do aha, we're gonna do protocol for Mauna Kea. We're gonna come down here so that it's flat, and we're gonna face the Mauna, but you guys can gather wherever is convenient for you. O hanau ka Mauna Kea, o pua e ka Mauna Kea, o wa ke Kānaka, o papawale nu ka wahine, hanau ho hoku he wahine, hanau he aloha he ali, he keiki Mauna Kea. Ha. O hanau ke, o hanau ka Mauna Kea, o pu'ua e ka Mauna Kea. O hanau ka Mauna. O hanau ka Mauna Kea, o pu'ua e ka Mauna Kea. O wakea ke kane, o wakea ke kane o papa, wali nu'u ka wahine. O wakea ke kane, o wakea ke kane o papa, wali nu'u ka wahine. Ana ho'ohoku, ana ho'ohoku he wahine, ana haloa e ali'i. Ana ho'ohoku, ana ho'ohoku he wahine, ana haloa he ali'i. Ana ka Mauna, ana o ka Mauna Kea, he keiki Mauna Kea. Mauna. Hana o ka mauna akea, e ke ki mauna akea. He o akea. Puli ka mauna vela ki a hiria ka wahine. Vela na ohia kulilia I kaua, a vela, a noku, ki ahia ka lua e. Ai ka mumu ke na ke, pa hoi hoi ke. Ai ka mumu ke na ke, pa hoi hoi ke. Vela I luna o hale, mau mau ke. Vela I luna o hale, mau mau ke. Ai ka mumu ke na ke, pa hoi hoi ke. Vela I luna o Vela I luna o hale mau mau ai kamumu ke na ke pa hoi hoi ke Vela I luna o hale mau mau ke Vela I luna o hale mau mau ke Na maluna pali o ka awe ai e ala he noa no hiaka I ka muli o pele KØKULU. E ahala he kūkulu he mauna. E ahala he kūkulu he ahu. E ahala he kūkulu he pohaku. E ahala he kūkulu he Kānaka. Anu. E ahala he kūkulu he mauna. E ahala he kūkulu he ahu. E ahala he kūkulu he pohaku. E ahala he kūkulu he Kānaka. Anu. E ahala he kūkulu he mauna. E ahala he kūkulu he ahu. E ahala he kūkulu he pohaku. E ahala he kūkulu he Kānaka. E na ho aina, e na ho velalike, e na ho pili, e na ho aloha. Aloha aina. Kūkulu e na kūkulu e hae. Kūkulu. He mau makakoa, e na makakaeo. Eo. E hue. Hu. E kukia I mauna. Ku. E pohaku ku. Ku e. E ili kapu aloha. E na makakaeo. E hue. E kukia I mauna. E pohaku ku. E ili kapu aloha. E kowai e ola. E hue. E na ho aina. E na ho velalike. E na ho pili. E na ho e na makakaeo. E hue. E kukia I mauna. E pohaku ku. E ili kapu aloha. E kowai e ola. E hue. E coming. This exhibit's going to be up for a while, so just really, really appreciate all your help for being here. Thank you so much to APA and NYU, Amita, Laura, Crystal, Linda. Like, seriously, you guys have been such an incredible support, just coming to us and saying that you want to do something like this and really giving us the freedom to choose how we're representing ourselves. Is such a blessing and an honor. So really, really thank you so much. Yeah, have a good, I was going to say have a good weekend, but it's Tuesday. Have a good one. Now, come on now. Oh, now, come on now, kea. O puhua e, come on now, kea. O wa kea ke kane. O wa kea.